Todo spoon to be para la discussion. Spoon television. Spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you will know. The children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moreover, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Vanjama, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat keep on congratulate my brother, to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba. What I want? This one you got today.
Spoon TV.
This one you got today.
Spoon TV. Spoon Spoon entertainment.
Go to
Todo spoon to get your information. Todo spoon to be Spoon television. Spoon radio station. Spoon television.
Yes, sir. A special one from the CEO, Stanton with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the South and Band. Charges on the beat.
Todo spoon to get your information. Todo spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon television. Spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you will know. The children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, moreover, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Vanjama, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, Yeah, tuto small. If you eat keep on grudging like my brother tuto small. You got a small TV, you got a small radio, tuto small. Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, folks. Good afternoon, wherever you are.
Yeah.
Welcome to yet another edition of the Spoon Talk Show, right here on Spoon FM 107.5, Fabric 101.1 FM, and as well as on Spoon TV and Fabric TV. Welcome to it, wherever you are. Please invite someone to view or listen alongside you, as it promises to be very, very interesting as usual. So, my name is Yekezi Zubel. I'm your producer for tonight. Let's now go over to Dr. Richardson and James Goodday Flomo to kickstart the show. Good evening.
Hello.
How are you, Doc?
I'm okay, James. How you doing?
Well,
I'm good.
okay.
Doc.
God morning me. Everything is great.
Oh, good. We can be thankful for today.
Yeah.
So busy Friday. Been running all morning, but we're happy to be here to commit our time to Liberia and to Liberians. This is where we talk about all things Liberia. Despite all of our busy schedules, we can take up the time to be here just to give back to our country. It's another way of giving back. So I appreciate you guys. You can see I appreciate you in the studio there in Liberia. Good day. I also appreciate you. I know you just finished your exam. You could be chilling, relaxing, trying to find some kind of Liberian food or whatever to eat to give yourself. But here you here with us, and likewise. So you guys want to just give me some updates on some current events, some local issues that are happening?
Yeah, so far today, President Weah dedicated a newly constructed annex of the famous Boozwen High School on the Jamaica Road. And the Boozwen High School has been operating as a junior high school since its construction in 1968 during the administration of the late President Willem Vida Stockman. But with the construction of the new annex, it's going to be operating as a full high school. That is, you're going to have 10th, 11th, and 12th grades, added to it now. So the president was there today, and he cut the ribbon to the new annex, and hopefully that institution will be starting as a full-fledged high school very, very shortly. And also President Weah has constituted a 14-member board of trustees of Nimba University, and he named several individuals as members of the board, including Nimba County Senator Jeremiah Bankong, Representative Johnson Gweklo of District Number 9 in Nimba County, Representative Larry P. Yonkwe of District 8, Nimba County, Professor Ansu Soni, who's the Minister of Education as well, was named as a member of the Board of Trustees of the Nimba University, and a lot of other individuals were named. They are actually 14 in number, and they were named as members of the Board of Trustees at the university. That's the Nimba University. Yeah, so far so good. That's all from my end for today.
Interesting news. Never a boring day in our country. Never a boring day. So thank you for sharing the news. Salamatu, welcome to the show.
Happy Friday, Dr. Richardson. Good day.
Yeah, interesting. Liberia is not a boring country, I'll tell you that much.
No, not at all. There's something going on for such a small country and for such a small population compared to other places in the world. This is where we find ourselves. But I'm just going to take a minute to just welcome our audience. I like to do that. And I'm sure one of these days, Salamatu or Remy Gray, you guys can join me on welcoming our audience because they could have been doing many things today. Like all of us here, we could have been doing so many things, but we've taken the time to be here to work for Liberia. This is actually volunteer for Liberia because nobody's getting paid here. So I'd like to welcome our audience and just tell them that we appreciate them. They can participate in the comment section. They can call in when it's time for us to do the phone lines. And also, it's good to have them. I will start by saying Dolo Dolo. I want to welcome you to the show. Tipples PK Dempster. I also would like to welcome you to Spoon Talk. Stephen S. Kamara, you said he loves to hear Salematu's voice. She has such a unique voice, right? That's what Stephen is saying. James A. Kali is here today. Thank you, James, for being here. Hue B. Kamara is from Rowersport, my country town, the place where my father was born, Grand Cape Mount County. All of those who are in Rowersport, Grand Cape Mount, I want to tell you a special hello. Thank you for being here. I see Mosef Kessel is from Ganta this evening. People who are in Ganta and surrounding areas, second player, Sunny Coley, all of those places want to welcome all of you there. And I'm sure Chairman Bill is going to kill me for not pronouncing his hometown right. Second pier, that's what it's called. Mohammed Sandy Karoma is here. Thank you, Mohammed. Seba T. Kenneth is also here. Daniel Kevin Fabin is here. Ayodele Taylor is from Michigan. Ayodele Taylor, thank you for being here, Ayodele. James Gaga is from here. He's here. He's from Des Moines, Iowa. Thank you for being here. Jeremiah Parker is from Baltimore. I want to thank you for also being here, Jeremiah. Samuel S. Bravo White is here. He says, hello, Salamatu. Edward Silly is also here. Thank you for your compliment as well, Edward. Jackson K. Miller, he said he's watching. Anthony Tage is from Providence, Rhode Island. All the Liberians in Providence, Rhode Island, and other nationals, thank you. Hello to you. Monday Gar is here. This person said my voice sounds like an old Congo woman. Okay, thank you very much. The comments can be too juicy sometimes. This is why I like watching this show.
I gotta take the phone and just chunk it somewhere.
Thank you, yeah. The Oklahoma. Kevin Morris is here from Congo Town. Marvin, you can't do anything but laugh. It's Friday, right? Ansel Salif is here from Charlotte. We appreciate you for being here. George Barrian is here from Dupo Road. Everybody, all Liberians and other nationals that are, on Dupo Road, thank you for being here. Thank you. Share the show. Don't forget to share the show. Rabina from Mata Louis Vincent. That's mine, Rabina over there.
Hi, Bina.
Yes, Salvato's friend, my childhood little sister. Thank you very much. Rabina is always here, especially when Salvato is here. She's always here to support Salvato.
Oh, my sweetheart. That's my sweetheart.
Yes, great.
Sister, that's my sister. She's not my friend. She's my
sister. It's good to always have one. Thank you. James Kosa is here from Nimba, Ban. He says he's from Ban City, Nimba. Thank you for recognizing and identifying specifically where you're from. Soli Gay is from South Dakota. Jacobson Welligon is from Kanta. All of you who are in Kanta, thank you. We welcome you. Jeremy is from New Jersey. Thank you very much. Isaac O. Jones, he said he's from Johnsonville, Pepuru Town. I know that place there, but it sounds something like Pepuru. Pewuru Town, good day, Pewuru, right?
Pepe Wood.
Pepe Wulu. Ah, you
Yeah,
are pronouncing it wrong, very wrong. Yeah, Pepe Wulu. I gotta
yeah,
go find
Pepe
it.
Wood.
I gotta find it when I go to Liberia. I like looking for these different places in Liberia. The interesting, got some interesting names in Liberia.
Yeah, but where is it? Where is it?
Johnsonville.
Oh,
I
that
don't
other
even
one
know
good.
how they
I didn't
can.
even know that.
Sometimes it will be interesting to even I just like art and study different things, like the way that we names the origin of how we name different areas.
Yeah.
Do we name it after places like Battery Factory? Like different places. It's just these interesting names. I always wonder how we got there, but I'm sure there's a history, and somebody maybe can write a book about that. And I mean, I'm working on different things here. Fartown, there's somebody here, Henry Siri from Fartown in the house. So maybe plenty of five people living in that area that you say, oh, did they call it Fartown? That would be an interesting study. Jimmy Hughes is from Painesville. Sampon Flomo is from ELWA. ELWA, I understand the connection. ELWA Hospital, when the people first got it. So that whole area is called ELWA. That's what I'm thinking. Uh, Samuel Holmes, he says, hello. I'm not going to even recognize what you said. Yes, Samuel, but it's okay. Juana S. Bima is watching from New Jersey. Thank you very much. So I think I called everyone's name. I get accused for calling certain people's name. I just go down the list. There's no there's no method to my calling of names and welcoming people, but hey, that's part of the game here. So panelists, I'm gonna just ask you to give us a few of your thoughts, your opening thoughts for the show, and then we can begin. Salamatu?
Oh no. I mean, good evening. As I won't butcher the man name, but as he was given the how do you say his name before I can't start calling his name?
Yekezi Zogbe.
Yekes Yekese?
Yes,
Yekezi.
Yekezi.
Yeah,
Okay.
this.
Oh,
Yekezi.
let my representative Yeke, but Yekezi.
No, they are different people.
I
Yekezi
know, but I let it need
Zogbe.
Yekezi.
Zogbe.
Zokwe. Oh, okay. So as he was reading the news, it was kind of interesting to hear the appointments. I mean, Jack gave a whole new definition to political appointment, but that was a good play, I must say, by the president. That was a
so,
very
Salamatu, can you just, for people who are just joining us, so before you got here, Yegesi informed us that the president appointed 14 members to the board of trustee for Nimba University.
yeah.
Now, about university, the board of trustees, they basically kind of sign off. They kind of sign off on whatever the president and the faculty member, we have a senate over here, decide on. They get paid, I'm sure, in Liberia for for being on the board. They meet 1 or 2 or 3 times a year. So just to let you know, they're not, to me, doing the hands-on, which is teaching the students and making the day-to-day decisions for the university. But he put a lot of interesting good bias. I think that's why I saw you have like a body reaction to that. So what were you thinking? He put Kwon is on the board of trustee. Ansu Soni is on there. Representative Yankwe is on there, and I'm also, there was one more Nima person that was called I think, is it Konglo? Do you
No.
remember it?
Another lawmaker.
Kongwe.
Yeah.
Okay, but that person was also from Nima. I recognized the name. So what were your reaction? What were you thinking, Sadamati? You said that was like really political.
No, I mean the first name, Jeremiah Kon. When I heard the name, of course, Ansu Soni, it makes sense that he would be on the board. I don't know the other 2 persons or the rest of the people who were nominated, but of course, the first name is very interesting, simply because it seems as if Kon is now the new darling boy, for lack of a better term. People are seeking him out. People, he's getting the deals. He's getting the deals, and I can only imagine what will happen. As we get closer to the elections, there will be a lot of deals. Right now he's a darling boy. Jeremiah Clay is the Darling board. So it's just interesting to see several lawmakers on the board of the university. We talk about, I don't know what's the general rule of thumb when you put in board members, when you selecting board members to a university board, because that's what it is. It just, it's strange that we will have a lot of the representatives sitting on the board. I don't think that's good governance, but that Liberia will always say, hey, that Liberia, this too shall, what you say,
This
this
too
too
shall
is
pass.
Liberia.
Or
No,
this
this
too.
too is Liberia,
Okay.
which is a saying that I honestly hate, because when people say that, for me, it just means they've given up and there's nothing good that can come out of it. So just leave it. But
Okay.
it's just very interesting. It seemed like there's some kind of conflict, when you have the legislature sitting on the board of the university. It's not a private university, is it? Oh, college, the Nima school,
I was looking for James to answer. I believe it's probably like state owned
state owned. Yeah,
university. Yeah, so it's not a private university. As
yeah,
I was thinking about that when you were
It is
saying,
not a private university. It is government's university.
yeah,
yes. So
yeah,
as compared to something like Prince Johnson's University, which seems to
yeah,
be, until he asked the government to help him subsidize, is maybe mostly private. But I don't know. But yeah, I think your assertion or your hunch about this is right. It seems like a lot. It's a political move almost. You have elections coming up. Nimba is a very important uh, county that can
yes,
make or break, the winner. And the president is paying attention. He's paying attention to that county in the backdrop of he and Prince Johnson's back and forth argument. So yeah, it is. Nima again is back in the news. James, good day. Did you want to add anything to what we are talking about? Just share some light on what we're talking about.
Yes, basically, even before getting there today, the traditional council had a press conference where Chief Zaza Kawa was talking about people accusing him of supporting the government because he's always with them. Uh, during during the endorsement ceremony, Chief Zaza Kawa attended that event. He attended the event and it brought so much feedback. People have their own opinions regarding it, and some occasions he has been spotted on so many occasions with members of the CDC, those who are within the government, including the president. So it's like it has reached to a point where he had to come to the media to speak today. He said, as a traditional leader, the act that created the traditional council calls for him to be there with the government. It is not to be against the government. He's there to make sure things are right, to settle disputes, and for him going on the field on that day, he was invited, or members of the CDC invited him to go as an observer, not as one of the key members within the endorsement ceremony. So he, along with his team members, went there to just observe. He did not go there to form part of the process. And he said, why should he go against President Weah when he first requested for just a vehicle or two, and the president promised to give them 15. And we saw that he said the president gave them 30 vehicles, where they gave two to each counties. We saw that happening. And he said, if government cannot give you that, or a president cannot do that good for you, then you go against them. So if the opposition members are having their rally too, or they want to invite him to their activities, they should write him. He, along with his team, will go there and form part of their event. So people should not burn him as a member of the CDC, or a man who is supporting the government. He's just doing what the act talk about. He says specifically the function of the traditional council is to bring dispute among leaders within the country. Like he named some examples. There was a dispute, and I witnessed that there was a dispute between former Speaker Talos and some lawmakers, and he said he was the one who asked Talos to step down, and Talos stepped down. He talked about another case with the president, the former president, and he had to step in. When he stepped in, there was peace. So the work of the traditional council is just to bring peace among leaders because they are the fathers in the land, and he's not a member of the CDC. So the ANC, the Unity Party, when they're having their political rallies to or whatever event, they should invite him. He will go there, but he will not go against the sitting president or the sitting government, the government in office. He will not go against them for several reasons. They give them 30 vehicles, ambulance, and so forth.
Wow. I don't even know where to begin. I'm happy that he spoke out. The only question that came to my mind, and from an intellectual standpoint, is it relates to dual role, multiple role, conflict of interest. And the reason why I say that, because what happens if he says that he has to side or be there to, be in the ends of the government? And what happens if someone brings a case against the government that he said he had to interfere with a case against the president? He might appear to be less objective because he's in the environment, he's smooshing, with the government. So it's just that's what I'm thinking about. So I don't know. I'm gonna ask Honorable Fagon, Mr. Fagon, to give his opening remarks and also to just integrate everything that you have heard so far, but what's on your mind for the show for today.
Well, what's on my mind is the fact that maybe later on in the program, James is going to bring it forward. All this signing ceremony going on between the LPDP, NPP, and that of the CDC that we said was fraudulent is beginning to fall on our laps. And I blew the whistle on it yesterday because I obtained both the documents. One, the resolution that brought LPDP back, so-called LPDP, because it's not the real LPDP. And then guess what? The Coalition for Democratic Change decided to file papers with NEC. It will amaze you that the document to NEC, which we are told, was received on the 10th of February. But the notarization of that document was done on the 13th. And according to the individual, you see James Kude was shaking your head. Jim Kude.
Can we put it up so we can actually talk about it? Let the Liberian people see what you're talking about.
That's the first page of that one at the signature page of the LPDP where one man signed 7 times on behalf of other people. That's the coalition document there. You see the date there, it says the 10th. But then when you go to the notarized pages, where the guy said these people came personally, he used the word, personally before me. And a notary officer lying like that. What time he saw Joe, we are in front of him to sign our people? Why you just like a small boy? I mean, I don't know. It's there though. If James Kude want to read it, it says, before me, soon before me personally. We never saw George we are signing anything, anywhere, going anywhere. Okay? This is the CDC framework document. This is the notary certificate. If you were to read what's on the document there, you will see the guy said they swore before him. But guess what? The document they submitted was dated the 10th. The notarization of the document was done on the 13th. Now they started finding excuses. Oh, that was when we wrote the letter. But actually, we put a notary thing there on the 13th. Okay, let's agree you put it on the 13th. Fine. But let's look at the signature pages. You are a professor. Salema too is my beloved. James is my friend. Remy Gray is my old enemy. Now, look at the way he said it now. He said it now like Jackie from the back, trying to eat something quick because you know we're on a 3-hour show quick. But anyway, you go into the document. Which one of you, Remy, have ever submitted a document to your teacher, to your office, with all of the signatures not present on the document? It will amaze you to note that these people submitted a document where you use the perpectionary something legally where you sign on behalf of somebody. What they did was majority of the signatures on the document is people signing on behalf of another person. But the notary agent said those people, signed before him. Now you're submitting a document to NEC. George, we are signed for CDC. US signed for NPP. But there is no signature for LPDP. It's blank. How do you expect Deviato Lasana to say your document is complete when 2 of the political leaders signed but the third one did not sign? How do you expect her to accept such a document when Jefferson Koji signed as Secretary General, LPDP Secretary General signed, NPP Secretary General signed, but of the 3 chairmen, that is, Malba Malu signed, Mose Colley signed, but you got Barney Neem there, but then somebody called McIntosh or whatever, McLean, signed right beside James Barney Neem, which is
I wish James could put that up for us, man, so we can see.
He's sorting it out right now.
Oh, okay.
Put it on. Then guess what? He put there acting chairman. I can wonder sometimes why my people always make me shame. You signing as acting chairman, when you're acting, your name goes there. James Barney name does not go there. Then we go to LPTP on a document that James put up. It's the most funny thing I've ever seen. And I don't want to laugh on this platform. Of the 7 regional, there you go, he now put it up. Of the 7 regional people that signed, you see George Manning name up there? You see Malba Molu name? You see Jefferson Koji? You see Joel name? But you see under there, number 2 is James P. Barney. So they put PP, meaning he's not there. So this guy signed for him as acting, as what? Vice Chairman for Administration. Okay, I misspoke, I'm sorry. Vice Chairman for Administration. What the Vice Chairman for Administration signing? Why? What led to James P. Barney not being there? But then look down now to LPDP. The Secretary General signed, the Chairman signed, but the political leader signature is missing. You expect this woman to take this document as complete? Let's go to the resolution that took LPDP there. James put I just wanted to laugh to start the show. James, I beg you find LPDP. Let them see it. Yeah, LPDP signature. Of all the regional leaders, 7 of them, you see 7? Number 1, number 2, and number 3 signed. 4 persons, 4 regional coordinators did not sign. If you look on the signed county chairpersons, you will see PP. For Bomi County, no signature. That's number 1. But they got PP there. Why you put PP and no signature? However, let's go down. You will see S. Roy Brown. If you can see S. Roy Brown, look on the screen. After S. Roy Brown, you will see the same S. Roy Brown signing as PPPP, SRB, SRB, SRB.
And also Bon County.
I said everywhere. He signed everywhere, SRB, SRB. How can one man sign on behalf of 8 persons on a document that is supposed to be a resolution? How? And then this other guy, the new notary guy, see where he got to the bottom? Soon before me. There are different notary officers, but the 2 notary stuff carries the same date. on the 4th, and this guy who says on the 13th. The resolution was signed on the 13th, but it was signed on the 4th. Look there, you will see the date. But then it was notarized on the 13th. And that was after the signing ceremony and the program that took place at the stadium. What kind of life we live in, so? He's just putting the cart before the horse just putting the cart. And people can still catch the set. You say it was a resolution that put you in the coalition. But the resolution was signed on the 4th. After you had all your program, everything, and wrote your letter, then you notarize the document on the 13th. So that's my own opening today.
Okay.
And that's my own laughter today. I know Remy Gray will be happy that he said these people did not have any brains and they just proved him right.
So we're gonna move, or thank you, Minister Fagon, for sharing the light on what happened, who signed the documents. What again, I continue to ask, who signed the document to petition President Weah for the second term? Was it the Congress or the coalition? So, Remy Gray, any thoughts?
Leaning along this elections, I'm being heard, right? Clearly, hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah. So talking about this election situation, I mean, every inclination is like we're moving towards Mr. Weah actually positioning himself to rig this election. You talk about first the endorsement, just to make sure that coalition holds. Those documents are fishy. And I agree clearly with Van Gogh on this one when he's talking about, firstly, that document will not pass the validity test. Definitely. Clearly, you can see that there's so much forgery on that. But that's just one. My concern has to do with this voter biometric registration that should have taken place by now. Langston, I think that's the company that's supposed to have come up and continue with this biometric system. That would have at least solidified the integrity of the elections. And we just found out that one of the conditions on which they were granted this contract was that they were going to provide about 4.5 million to pre-finance the biometric process. And they're only coming out now to say we don't have that money to pre-finance, which automatically, alters that good agreement that pre-finance certain part of the electioneering, especially the biometric. Now, we are going to be moving to elections without any reform, including the voter registration that we were supposed to clean up, and then come up with a new biometric system that will enforce that if I appear to vote, they will use my bio data to be able to determine it's me and not Fangon or you, Dr. Chinowit. So the only thing I can say is when people are bent on using this manual system, it just tells you how they are bent on rigging the election. You can just see the road. They say if your Christmas will be good, definitely the eve of that Christmas, you will know. We are knowing now the eve of Christmas that this election coming up, unless we brace our belts, we are up for a massive rigging. And definitely every step Mr. Weah is taking is to ensure that he gets reelected. I mean, I don't falter him for that, but we expect a fair game. We expect the playing field to be leveled. When you start pushing like this, definitely you know that Mr. Weah is up for trouble. So that's my own thought for the day.
Good, thank you, Mr. Gray. So there's a couple of topics that came out of the discussion today. One, Minister Falcon brought up, that the signature page and the signing of the coalition, as you said, doesn't seem to be valid for two reasons. When you swear in front of a notary, your presence is supposed to be there. That's one thing that is saying. And so there's some arguments about the legality of this document in terms of when you take this document to NEC to NEC, and then you say NEC, we have a coalition. NEC is supposed to look at the document, make sure that it's they all supposed to oversee how is this document being packaged. Is everyone who are supposed to sign the document, and then of course give a response to say yes, we're going to go ahead, that you are a coalition or you are a political party. And we are seeing from what Mr. Fagon displayed today and showed that there's different concerns that he brought up about the signature page. And again, and then Mr. Gray is here telling us, say, okay, this is another indication that things are being pressed too hard. This man is doing everything, President Weah is doing everything to win. Okay. And also perhaps in the words of Remy Gray, to rig the election. Number one, the biometric system that was supposed to be set up to avoid or decrease any form of cheating, or two people being on a voter's registration twice, or any of those kind of imaginary things that can happen during the elections, to make the elections more certifiable, to make it more representative of our government, to make it free and fair, which is what a democracy stands for, appears to be shaky right now, because number one, we don't even have, we understand that the biometrics is not happening from what you say, right, Remy? Remy Gray?
Yeah, clearly.
Wow. Yeah.
So that system, if we're hoping that when I register, they'll use some part of my DNA to ensure that it's me, that portion will be clear. So we're going to go back with where one person will have 5 different voter registration cards. All he needs to do, or she needs to do, is to appear at different precincts and vote. So this was deliberate, in my opinion. I think, Mr. Webb, number one, the budget that was submitted by NEC, in my opinion, was extremely too outrageous. $91 million. That was what they needed. And I think the government was not even able to even cover 1/4 of that amount, because most of our electioneering is sponsored by international organizations, including USAID. Okay, so the government has its share to bring in. Now, government bid the contract to Langston, is an organization, I think, from Ghana, and say, hey, set up this biometric system for us, pre-finance it. Part of the agreement, if you win this bid, this is your own agreement up front. Now they're faltering on that agreement, saying that they don't have the money to pre-finance. So therefore, the biometric system that should have been put in place will not occur simply because of that. Now, in my opinion, is this deliberate? I want to think it is, because then that grants the government legitimacy to say, well, move ahead with a manual system. And that's their game, to rig the manual system. So we are fighting among ourselves. Opposition must come together, but look at the processes firstly, before you can even talk about people coming together. We will sit right in our eyes, this guy will rig this election point blank, and nothing will come out of it. I can guarantee you right now.
Wow. Mr. Fagon, your thoughts on this whole biometric system?
Well, first of all, there is something called voters registration. And in voters registration, there is a part of it that has to do with voters education. And it is the right of the citizens to be educated. Is that right? And you're talking about biometrics. What does it mean? Ma fatu, ma ke, ma musu, jire, as well as, Fonati, Sloti, all of them. Bezonga, and Segon Kanun, and Yakezi, all these people deserve the right to know what biometrics is, how it's going to work, what are some of the downsides to it. They need to be educated how to use it. Imagine if the government have not gone ahead to do this now. At this 11th hour, they've not educated anybody. They've not made a deal for it. And they're way outside line. What's going to happen? It's like I was looking at a coalition document they got there. These people have to learn. I don't know when they will learn. Maybe in the future, but not now. You know, because at the end of the day, you cannot tell people to use something that they're not knowledgeable about. That will be a constitutional violation of the rights to a franchise. You will disenfranchise those people. Because I'm here to vote for Dr. Francine. But you say I should look in a computer like this and the computer will read my eye. What if I get cross-eye? Eh? I need to ask that question. You say I should look into the computer. What if I look into the computer as a result of my illiteracy? And then I close my eye like this. Because I'm from the village. I believe if I look in at things, something will juke in my eye. So I close my eye. It doesn't read it. You've disenfranchised me. What if you say it will be done by fingerprint? Explain to me. Our people do physical work. You know that. So by the time you think that thing will read my prints, maybe my prints might be worn out before I get to the polls. What do I need to do to be part of a biometric system? How much have you educated the people? By jingles, by their dialects, by holding these outside teachings at night in their villages? You're bringing something to a population that is not familiar with it. This population is going to be a first-time user of such a system. This population is not as educated or literate as the ones in the Western world and other developed nations around the continent. So, how do you bring such a thing? First, look at the delay now. But you're going to start the registration when? You, Dr. Francine, were announcing it. I wish all the people from the village could just look at you and say the thing you're announcing, you don't teach all about it. Nothing. Is it going to happen? We don't know. Redistricting with legis. Legis said next week they will give out numbers. We don't know. So when I agree with Remy when he says this president is fixing to rig the elections. This president is already violating the law, I may add. In fact, in a very coalition document, somewhere called Section 3, just before the signature of George Weah, you know what they got there, Dr. Francine? They said, no party shall exercise the right. Hear that English. No party shall exercise the right to withdraw within 180 days before the date of nomination of candidates as set forth by the National Elections Commission. How do you say somebody should not exercise the right? Meaning you acknowledge the person's right, but they should not exercise it. Because if they do, there is consequences. That is in violation of Article 77 of the Liberian Constitution, which states clearly that the essence of democracy is free competition of ideas expressed by political parties and political groups, as well as by individuals. Parties may freely be established to advocate the political opinions of the people. Now listen to this, what it says in conclusion. Laws, regulations, decrees, or measures, such as the one in the people Saka document, which might have the effect of creating a one-party state shall be declared unconstitutional. It happened with the CPP. When the other people went to court and said the memory me, the other people said, the court said, look, you were just supposed to go. The law said you're free to go. Article 77 is clear. So, like Remy Grace said, I'm going to stick with that. That I think the biometric, again, is another means of trying to rob the Liberian people of their franchise or their votes. Because if I don't know what I'm doing, Dr. Francine, you are robbing me. I look in a computer, I'm from the village, I never went to school before. I look in the computer, I close my eye. The computer cannot read. If the next day I went on my farm and the cutlass caught me here, you tell me to put a finger, you're not in the boot. I will put it one. So we
Okay.
need, I don't know, I'll leave it there.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm gonna just throw this out, and then welcome Mr. Howard for being on the show. We'll come to you next, but I want to just throw the we're discussing the biometrics, okay? And the idea was to use biological properties to sort of make sure that the voters registration list is fair, that we're not going to have people registering or having 4 or 5 IDs, voters IDs. Okay. And we had a show here where we had someone from, I believe she was from either one of the ECOWAS commissions, and she talked about, making sure other countries are using biometrics. As she wanted Liberia to be on course with using the biometric system. But I don't know, Remy. I'm trying to tease Mr. Gray. I'm trying to decipher if it is the incompetency of this government or if it is the intentionally uh, desire to rig the election. And I'm just going to be fair here, okay? And I know you are leaning more to the side they want to rig the election. I'm thinking incompetency, okay? So I'm going to give you an opportunity to answer that question, and we're going to move on to Mr. Howard.
All right, Dr. Francine. Thing is, when you're a black man, someone is calling, on you or calling you, they will not say, "Hey, you black man, come here." You're already a black man, right? When you talk about incompetency, that's commonplace with the we administration. I'm not going to go to the incompetency, because that's the reason, the terror, that's the modus of operandi of this government. What I'm concerned about is this idea that even the census that should have been conducted way before this election, that census, we all know now that majority of the people were not counted. So even that process itself is haphazardly incomplete. So that was one way to ensure that the process itself was transparent. Now they're going to cook up numbers. The reason why this person has not even announced the outcome of the census is because they're trying to cook up something that will not flare public outcry. So that process has been shallow and counterproductive. Now we'll come to biometrics. Frangon was talking about using DNA means, which is it. That's the meaning of our biometrics. But do you know about 3% of vote cast in Liberia, you understand, are disqualified?
Yeah.
Because people don't even know how to mark certain things.
Mm-hmm.
With biological, some part of your DNA just supposed to touch some part, and whether your fingers are obliterated, whether you're a farmer, whether you have no nails, something on you would be used to make sure it matches your biological makeup. That's what that is. Simple. So they know definitely if we use that route, it would disadvantage them. If we use the route they know, which is truck people in, give people 5 different voter registration cards, find ways in which John will vote for Paul, Paul vote for John. That is their ground game. That's what they know. So this president will never set up a system that will disadvantage him. I dare him. Unlike Madam Sirleaf, you understand, after a certain while, she agreed that let's go to election, even though there was some vulnerability there as well. But you could see the general will. This president is not willing at all. So from day one, he started laying the groundwork. You thinking that it's because they're incompetent? They are competent at rigging and stealing. That's what I can tell you. They're very competent at cheating. So that
Thank you. Thank you.
incompetence is relative.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. Mr. Howard, you share your thoughts on this issue.
Well, first of all, I want to say good evening or good afternoon to everyone, especially the folks in Liberia. And
Mhm.
whenever I get these opportunities, I always like to set a disclaimer because us Liberians, we're quite a labeled people. Like I said yesterday, I will continue to say I am not part of no Liberian political party. No. Not the CDC, the ANC, the UP, or what have you. I only speak on issues and give my balanced analysis as I see it with all fear and favor. So I would say, thank you, Minister Fagon, my brother Remy, long time. So my take on this issue, as I followed the program before joining in, I I think I have a different perspective. Again, I'm no spokesperson for CDC, not on the UP. I'm an independent guy who will tell you and say it how I see it. I think I have a different perspective, and I think for now, Mr. Weir knows that to cheat in an election, it was not be good for the country. We saw that doing with the late Samuel Doe. Some of you were around. So I don't think for me, my thing it is too premature at this time, especially to see maybe the opposition crying for cheating. I give an example. When I used to play soccer, the game when I start, Red will say, oh, the ref will cheat us. But how you know the ref will cheat you? How do you know? Play the game. So, I mean, you guys got ready to raise concern, but I think I will focus again. What we need to do, like I said on the show yesterday, okay, Minister Fagon, he displayed some document with the people signing the signature on that, right? Okay, that CDC and the NPPF part of the situation. So my question to us, from the opposition bloc perspective, what are we doing? What is it my candidate say? At least CDC got a document signed, be it being forged or not, but do they see people at opposition get any document signed? So I think the focus here, and anywhere many Liberians are listening to us, again, I would say George Weah is George Weah. Everything, Mr. Gray, you cannot for the president going to cheat this and that. The opposition got their representative in the House and Senate. Those are the people should be there to make sure that their party's interest secure. But if they all sitting at Bumu, they are not doing anything, they are not saying anything, even for the opposition side. So again, to just weigh on this topic, Madam Dr. Francis, I don't think Mr. Weah will all person knowing further well the consequences of rigging the election. I don't think they want to go that route. This is a playbook reminding of Biden with Fagon with the CDC. The election has not ended. Oh, they're going to cheat CDC. They're going to cheat CDC. So, guys, I think to me it's very premature to be even thinking in that direction. Even though we've seen the sign about the sensor not being completed, the biometric, but we need to hold the feet to the fire through our representatives and senators. So that's what I have to say on this issue. And with the signing of the document that Minister Fagon showed, well, again, I will not fault CDC or MPFL for signing it with the sign. Vice versa, if you look at the side of the opposition, we look at their part of signing document too, all people can raise concern. You see, so they say when you come to Equitage, you come with clean hands. I rest my case.
Yes, Ms. Falcon, I'm going to let you respond, and then we're going to let Mr. Gray respond. But I want to just ask you guys to integrate this thought into your responses. When we say let George Weah be George Weah, or be it forgery or not, which is something that you mentioned, Mr. Howard, I think we are sort of kind of giving up on the system in Liberia, like say, oh, be a forgery or not. No, it should not be a forgery or not. Okay, we should be raising alarm and talking about the validity of different legal documents in our country. So that was my first thought, and I want you also to speak about that and have the other panelists integrate that into their questions.
Can I ask you a quick question before they come in? Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes. And my second, how Mel, just give me 1 second. My second thought was, so if we say, what is the opposition doing? That's what you also asked. You see, if we realize that laws are being bent, laws are being rigged, laws are not followed, okay, then what power does the opposition have to fight anything when the scale is skewed against them in some to some extent. Okay, so this is what I want to sort of put into the public, into the air, for us to be able to talk about. So if yes, you're right. I agree with you. The international community will be watching our elections like hawk. Okay, but that doesn't mean that, like, recently we had the two guys who actually went out to exercise their democratic right, which is to protest. One guy was taking out banners from the legislature building. The other guy was in District 17 protesting by electricity. What happened? Both of those guys were manhandled badly. All right. So we cannot. I don't want to agree to just say, let it, it's George Weah. Let it be as it is. I want us to
No,
to
Dr. Francis, I think probably maybe you're not really getting my point. Okay.
Tell me
You
your
cannot,
point, please.
yeah, you cannot beat a willing horse to death. What do I mean by this? Mr. We have been in power for the last 5 years. There are some things he's doing. No rational leader will do that. But can you change? I mean, somebody to change their behavior. So what I'm saying here, I don't support fraudulent act. I don't support violence. People that know me, I got a clean record. That's one of the reasons why I have not worked for no Liberian government, past and present. Because why? I don't have the resume. What is the resume? You have to be corrupt. And I'm not corrupt to go work for somebody and tell somebody, yes, sir. So the reason I have not worked for government. I'm saying this to say, Mr. We already, he makes music. I mean, the country people are suffering. So when you keep beating on him, beating on Mr. We are. So I'm saying, let the opposition focus on something good, substantial, put their plans together. We identify the problem. What's the solution? It's for the opposition black to stop the in-house fighting, get together. Look, communists will need Bwaka. Bwaka needs communists. They need you. Get together, say, look, guys, enough is enough. Let's get together and put our strategy together. But every day we're singing some beating Mr. We are. What I'm saying, we are will be we are. Arrest.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for illuminating on that point. Mr. Fagon, we'll go with you to add some few thoughts to what we just heard, and then Mr. Remy, and then we'll go on to our next topic here.
Well, thank you. Let me address what Mr. Brown said first.
Howard, a point of correction. Howard.
Sorry, Mr. Howard.
Yeah.
Pardon me? Mr. Howard comes and say, even though, I'm quoting him, even though we are seeing the signs. Well, I'm not sure Mr. Howard has decided why he's here. But I have decided the reason why I come here is in the interest of my country. And let me say this to Mr. Howard. Mr. Howard, this is not about President Weah. This is not about the CDC. This is about my country. And here are two things you're missing. The biometrics. You used to play football. For me, they know me. I have a record. That's the soccer ball and the cliques. This is not football game. This is people's lives and people's country. This has the potential to breed violence. We're not here saying that, oh, Mr. Weah will cheat, Mr. Weah will cheat. What are we saying? You're bringing biometrics to the people where you are sitting comfortably. You probably know what biometrics is. Does my Jatu know about it in Cape Mount? Have she even seen the machine? Now, this thing should have been done ever since last year. It wasn't done. The money wasn't paid. And even up to now, the education for the voters, it's called voters education. It has not been given. And we come here to talk about, hey, you said we're beating on President Weah? Who is President Weah? We're talking about our country here. Secondly, you want free and fair elections, right? But look at the fraudulent documents they're submitting. What does it have to do with opposition? You claim you signed a document to give to NEC, but then the document is fraudulent. You write the document on the 10th, you notarize it on the 13th, after sending it on the 10th. You claim you did the document on the 4th, that put you into the coalition, but the notarization was done on the 13th. You claim that everybody signed, and you submitted it to NEC. NEC goes to look at it. Half of the people did not sign. Notary agent, you said that people signed before you, but there were people personally, but there were people who signed for the people. So please, dear brother, some of us are not here to claim we're independent, opposition, or sedition. I am a sedition. But my country comes first. And so right now, the reason why we're calling it out is because the document is fraudulent. We don't want problems tomorrow. The reason why we're talking about the biometrics is because our people will use it. And you are not educating our people, and you have not paid the company. We don't know where we are. So I think it was unfair to charge us for coming here and trying to beat on what you call, quote unquote, the willing horse. That horse is not willing, because we will not beat on a willing horse.
It's a crazy horse.
No, me, I will say crazy horse before I will come back on me. But that is not even a horse. That is my president, your president, Dr. Francine president. And even if you're an independent, opposition, or in position, it doesn't matter. What affects our country relative to the biometrics or a fraudulent registration will affect you and I. And so when we come on the platform to discuss, we discuss the things that affect our country. I respectfully submit, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Gray, and then we'll come back to you, Mr. Howard. Mr. Gray?
For a country that still has an individual, a pro-regime individual like Floyd Sayon still in the system, one ought to be nervous. But I don't know why Mr. Howard is beating on his independence. I mean, I make no apology for exercising my initial right, my fundamental right of identifying with a political organization. It is fundamentally my right. It is fundamentally Mr. Howard's right to stay in the middle. Even in the middle, that's a position. We have midfielders. You are a footballer. I play soccer too myself. You understand? But by the way, it does not make you any better than somebody who has taken a side to exercise their franchise. It is my God-given right to identify. The Constitution guarantees under Article 1 that I have the fundamental right to associate. Now, when you stand in the middle and yet want to dictate what you go on the opposition side, that is troubling in my own opinion. And let me tell you this. We are a multi-party democracy. We don't have to gang up. That's why we got rid of the one-party system. This idea that people should come together to fight one side, that is factional in my own thinking. It's like what we did when we were fighting the factional war. Ulimo J would join Ulimo K. This would join, that mentality, that's not multi-party democracy. We have a system where you go in, you compete, the best wins. That's why we say the processes must be transparent. Now, if you choose that the only way we can compete in this election unless we come together, then you don't know the essence of multi-party democracy. Let the best candidate go out there, campaign, and if they stand out, they will be able to advance to a second round, win the election. But I don't think you should be pushing togetherness in a multi-party democracy. Firstly, if we wanted to form one political organization, we would not have had so many. The law would have gone in the books and say only two parties can be here. If that was the law, then that's the law. But otherwise, this is a game of competition. Go in there, fight, come up, and win the battle. At the end of the day, you determine how the country goes. That's the system we have. That's what we're going to be working with. Mr. Howard, the only thing, thank you, sir, for not aligning. And Martin Luther King said, when the system is being plagued and those who stand by and do nothing, you understand, are equally liable for the outcome tomorrow. You chose to be in the middle, be there. I want to be on the side, on the left, on the right. That's where the battle is. You stay in the middle. You want to be on a line, non-aligned, untouched. You're playing it safe. Good for you. That's your choice. You understand? The only thing I can say, we are going to hold Mr. Weir's feet to the fire because we know definitely if we sleep, that's my own concern. I'm not concerned about us coming together to fight one side. No, I'm concerned equal competition equal access, level playing field. That's where my attention is. That's not yours. That's your choice.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Howard. You have an opportunity to just give us some feedback here.
Okay, first of all, I welcome this exchange and the how it should be. I know Minister Fagon, I have not seen, he have not seen me. We got nothing personal to attack each other or the issues. And, and my brother Gray from the university. So we disagree to agree. That what make democracy sweet. We all can sing the same song. Again, I will say, I will keep repeating myself. I'm not part of the CDC. I got issues with the CDC government. Friends that know me, I can say it. All right. All I'm saying, Mr. Fagon, I don't support fraudulent act. No, I don't support corruption at all. All I'm saying, right? We have identified the problem. And we know the problem, the government cannot make it. They have failed. So now, what is the solution? The solution would not just be, yes, you can cut it off. It's very good. You have the opposition lawmakers. They should take on the fight that you and myself, we can cut it, we can sing all the songs on this platform, but our lawmakers we got to put them to work, let them hold the government feet to the fire. That's all Mr. Howard is saying. I'm not saying I support what the government is doing, right? Then, Mr. Gray, let me say this. Look at the numbers. No one political party can win election. Tell me if I'm lying. You think when Mr. We are aligned with other parties, they tried twice. They couldn't make it. I think Fagon was part of the CDC at the time. I don't know what is still part of them. So all I'm saying, this model that came up by the opposition, called the CPP, is the best and better framework for the man married and sitting down waiting for ya. Who think the government suffering? How can they move the government? It's not just should be about Boaka or commies. All Mr. Howard is saying, I will continue to say, let's put our differences aside. If we really want to get rid of Georgia government, let's come together. Let's put aside the personal ego and look at the country that we all need to kind of rescue. That's all, Remy. If ANC decide to go by themselves, so be it. Perfect. If Joseph Boaka want to go up the Unity Party, but we have seen it over and over again, one party will not just carry the day, and the opposition needs to hold together because they are against Mr. Weah. So
let me get one counter, just 1 second.
Hold on, Mr. Gray. I just want to make sure Mr. Howard is finished speaking first.
So with Mr. Fagon's document, Mr. Fagon asked a question. Maybe Mr. Howard does not know what he is here for. One, I'm not a typical politician. Two, I love my country and I love to discuss issue of my country. I'm not a journalist, but we look at the issues that confront our people and we discuss it. So I am not here, Minister Fagon, to use this platform like retaliation. You know the story of my brother-in-law Niswa. He got murdered by this government. I'm not going to use it to start ding at people. We speak the issue and call the issue what it needs to be called. So let's discuss the issue. Let's look at the pros and cons. So if the document was falsified by MPP and by, I don't know, CDC or by Taro Party, the question comes to mind, do you know the ballot constitution of those parties? Who can sign for who? Maybe James Barney, I'm just saying something now. Maybe James Barney say, you know what, I will be basic today. I'm not there, just PP for me. You don't know the policy and procedure regarding that. So instead of us focusing on, it's good to focus on the document. What can we do as the opposition coming together, strengthen our document to see how best we can get Mr. We have in the back of the Liberian people. That's why that way I'm going. So
did you really listen to me?
Wait, Mr. Fagon, please hold on a second.
Maybe you don't know why.
Minister Fagon, please hold on a second, please.
Yeah, that was the first question. Comrade, I don't take it personal.
Can we please hold on? Yes, yes. I want to just inform our panelists and our viewers that we are having a pleasant exchange of information here. All of us love Liberia, and maybe we will show you in different ways. We will not agree, but we'll put some light on the situation, and you then can filter the information that we give you, add your own with your own life experience, and come up with a decision that will be impactful for Liberia. And so I just wanted to put that premise out there, and I also want to welcome back Salimatu. So before Mr. Gray, you wanted to say a few comments, and then we'll go to Mr. Fagon.
I was just going to say, our democracy we have may not be perfect, but it may be a false democracy or pseudo, if you want to call it. But here's what is important. It was meant for us to collaborate, come together, see on some of the issues. There is always a second rounds. We've shown that from the past, no one organization, no one political party can win landslide beside Charles Taylor, and we know that how he won that election. There were intimidation involved. Okay, now why not begin to talk among each other that if you go to the second rounds, you get my support. We don't have to come together and gang up against Mr. Ware. Then we're undermining our own democracy. That was not the intent for which we came into to being a multi-party democracy. That was not the intent. The intent was to negotiate. At the end of the day, I think the opposition can be now and come together and say, look, if you go to the second rounds, let's solidify the agreement that you will get unflinching support from your counterparts. But the thing that one person should step down, the other one has been in government too long, or is the wisest man, this person should subordinate. Those are all lazy argument, and it takes away the spirit of competition. When people don't know how to compete, they look for shortcuts. If somebody thinks that they're popular enough, go to this brawl, like the Premier Soccer, weasel your way through. At the end of the day, you get to the finals. When you get to the finals, you get more spectators from other teams supporting you. That's how our electioneering was meant. That's how our political system is built. Sorry if people think that other people should be younger, they just coming, or this is older, they got more wisdom. That's lazy argument. Go to the competition, prove your winnability, and advance to the next stage. I may not have interest in somebody who was there before
30
2 years,
seconds,
two
Mr. Gray.
terms. Okay, somebody who was there 2 terms, or the guy who is there all of which I've not given anything different. And then you think other persons should subordinate to those either of those people. That's not my interest. But this a field of competition where they're to compete. And if somebody don't want to fight, then leave the battle and let somebody else who is willing to fight.
So,
That's how it goes.
Sadamatsu, I'm going to ask you to say, a few words about this if you care to. The issue on the table is that uh, Mr. Gray believed that every indications that he has observed and read suggests that this government is planning on rigging the election. I believe that is basically incompetence. I don't necessarily think that they want to rig the election. Um, Mr. Howard believes that this is now time for the opposition to unite and stop focusing too much on what is it that George Weah is doing. Uh, so I wanted to see if you wanted to add any light on this situation.
Yeah, I mean, one, I have to agree with you, Dr. Richardson. We can't flat out say that, accuse the government of rigging the elections before it happened. I'm sure there's a lot of speculation based on what we've seen. But for me to come and say, that's what they're going to do, I can't publicly say that. I do believe, like you said, there's a lot of incompetency. And because of that, we are going to have problems. It's not necessarily better than rigging the election when you're incompetent and you're doing the wrong thing. So it's not even like a good thing. It's still bad. Secondly, I think, the CPP, that was the intent of the CPP. The CPP was for all the oppositions to come together. It just started with 4 parties, and eventually it was supposed to recruit everybody else. Nevertheless, that didn't work. Why are we still on the table making noise about coming together? Why can't we not just speak for our individual candidates? And, we'll go to second round. We combine as opposition, which the CPP was intended to do. We combine and vote for who we want to vote for. But our energy that we take into cussing each other, fighting each other, I do believe it should be redirected towards the current administration. if that's one thing I realize this current administration has done, they've been a very good opposition, to tell you the truth. When they were opposition, they were an excellent opposition. But one thing you can say about CDC is that they are together. No matter what's happening in the background, they vote as a block. If they fighting each other in the back, when they come together, they vote as a block. So with the opposition, as Mr. Gray said, multi parties was meant for us to have in Liberia. A lot of people fought for it. We are supposed to have different platforms. We're supposed to argue, and it's okay. What's not okay is for us to continue to say the only way this can ever work is if
So
Salamatu, you're breaking in.
you broke in quite a bit.
Yeah, you didn't hear
Sorry.
your last thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was saying.
Mhm.
You can hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
I
We
said,
heard you say the only way, when people say the only way that this can work.
yeah, is for somebody to step down. Then why do we have a multi-party system? We had 21 political parties in 2017. So based on just that, why are we not looking at the other 20-something parties and asking them for their individual leaders to step down? Why we focus on, or it must be Mr. Cummings stepping down, or Ambassador, the former VP, stepping down? At this point, we tried to collaborate. It didn't work the way we intended it to work. So therefore, everybody go and lobby for your own candidate. Get to the ballot. Whoever goes to second round goes to second round. And we come together. That second round now will start all the fuss we're making. When it comes to second round, one of our candidate go there, that one will start faking like we like each other and begging for votes. How does that work when we now cuss each other leaders out? So I don't think anybody needs to. Personally, I don't think we need to have 21 parties, but that's neither here or there. At the point where we are right now, we do have 21 plus political parties. Nobody intend on stepping down. So let everybody go and campaign for their candidate. If you believe your candidate has the right platform, campaign for your candidate. If you believe your candidate has the popularity, campaign for your candidate. And then in October, we go to the polls and we vote.
Yes, thank you.
Dr. Francis, 30 seconds.
Yes?
Let me just chime in something. You see, one thing I believe in, there's nothing called never. Once you like you're saying without word never, you'll all be stagnant at your position. All right. And Salamatu and Mr. Gray and other folks, negotiation, especially when it comes to such a big issues, it's not a day, 2 or 3. I give an example. Gray, you knows that. During the war, how many Agosomo meetings never had with Charles Taylor? There were Agosomo 1, Agosomo 2. Because if you want to really achieve peace, and we wanted to, they went to all the meetings. So again, I would say the CPP, in my book, it is a good arrangement. How big is it like to have about 50 political party? Put the like minds together, right? But Mr. Gray, from maybe your other residency, I've seen, there have been bad blood already created within the CPP. Right? So if the first negotiation failed, and the whole issue of the CPP, I think they brought it on to themselves. They took themselves to court. You can't blame us, we are in CDC. Matter that no one needed to go to court. Simple matter, put the pride and ego down just for the sake of the country. Come is a good guy. Bwaka is, your statement is very good. So we need all of them. But like she was saying, we hate each other. The other hate on Bwaka, and you're not running against Bwaka, or Bwaka hating on Cummings. And Mr. We are there just sitting and laughing. So all Mr. Howe is saying, let's put those energies together as a team, as a unit. Call meeting. It's not too late. We can meet next month. The CPP, Bwaka and Cummings, and decide to meet with Sir Prince Johnson and Bwaka. Bwaka and Cummings and do that. Look, guys, let's think about the country, Liberia. That's all. Nobody's supposed to, forget a position. But again, I will say, I will meeting to say, I could not to say, the CPP is the best option for the Liberian people. That's my take. You can say what you want to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to move on to our next topic. And if you still have some thoughts lingering in your head, you can say those thoughts as you speak about the next topic. But I want to just mention something here. There's a advocate in Liberia called Malcolm Joseph, and he works with the elections coordinating committee. And I think to end this section, he said, and I'm quoting what he said, while their postponement, and for many of you, the delay, the pushing back of the biometric voter registration exercise violates Article 80, which I think is what Honorable Falcon was talking about, the violation of the Constitution, Article 18 of the Liberian Constitution, the persistent challenge of conducting both their census. Remember now we have issues with our census, and so he's saying the challenges that we have with the census, now the enumerators that are getting paid, people are saying that they never got the enumerators didn't come to the house, they never got counted, and the voters the registrations, those two things. Yeah, I would talk about today. We were supposed to have biometrics. Now we don't have biometrics. We have problems with the census. We don't know how many people we have in our country right now. And he says those two things combined with inadequate time allotted for the commencement of the civic voters education. So he said no education. So anyone, Mr. Falcon spoke about on the transition to biometric voters registration overall serve as a risk. So we got poor education, no biometrics, would not show what the census going on. All of these things serve as a risk to the quality of the electoral process and the integrity of its outcome. So we hadn't everything that everyone has said thus far is what is summarized into this quote by, I want to give credit to Malcolm Joseph here. He's a watchdog person in Liberia. Now, we want to move over to our next conversation here. And the next conversation relates to certain heads of ministries have decided not to go to the legislature to give their reports as they have called for. Okay, the legislature called for perhaps the Ministry of Commerce, the Ministry of Gender. We know that the Ministry of Public Work did go to give them report, and they never showed up, and the legislators are angry or they got mad. First of all, I want to have this discussion. Why do you guys think for the Liberian people to know that it's important that these ministries go and report to the legislators? Why? What is the impact of that? What's the essence of having these ministries do a report to the legislature? So just for the knowledge base for our people to get. Let's start with you, Salimatu, and then we'll go to Honorable Fagon, and then we'll go to Mr. Gray, and then we'll go to Mr. Howard.
Okay, when we talk about the three separate branches of government, each having its own mandate, and if you don't respect the other mandate, you will find yourself in situations like this. You have our legislature, the other branch of government that's supposed to provide oversight on what the agencies, the executive is supposed to be doing. However, allegedly, a lot of our legislature are in bed with the executive branch. So much so we don't even know if we really do have three branches of government in Liberia. So now you have this separate branch of government who have the power to call and ask questions to find out if this ministry is doing what it's supposed to do, and the ministry telling them, "I'm not coming anywhere." And by saying that, meaning you don't notify the legislature to say, "Hey, look, I'm not able to make it because XYZ. Can we reschedule?" That common courtesy, that professional courtesy. Now you have our legislature complaining about it. What are they complaining about? Yeah, what are they complaining about? Or they will come, we say, you know what, the legislative branch, they're not doing what they're supposed to do, They call us enemy of the government. Yeah. Why are you upset if the two agencies or three agencies say they're not coming? They didn't even tell you they ain't coming. They didn't even give you the professional courtesy to let you know that they won't be available. What does that say about our entire government? I'm interested. I want to see what will happen, how now they will react. Okay, you vex, but there's a mandate on the table. There's rules. There's policies. There procedures. Now the legislature can take against the government. So not a government. I'm sorry, against these agencies. So now let's see if they will do that. If any one of the legislators, if they have the balls to do that. I
Yes.
hope we stay on this topic. I hope we keep track of what's happening because I would love to see what exactly is going to happen. And do we even know why the two agencies did not show up and did not, right? I know too much about the ministry agenda, but I will say, my interaction with Ministry of Commerce has always been very professional. So it's shocking to me that they wouldn't give that professional courtesy. So it will be interesting to hear from the agencies and just to find out, why they didn't. And then to see what the legislature would do. Let's see if they got any kind of fire in their kupa.
Fire in the co-pot.
Yeah,
Let's
we'll
see.
see.
Yeah, let's see. That fire in the co-pot. Minister Facon, your thoughts?
Well, I think Salmato said a lot, but the reality also, just to add, is that the legislature is the first branch of government. But I'm not sure if they actually know that they are. President goes out of the country, stays there 48 days using $2,000 a day for incidental only. Just incidental. That's not his allowance, his hotel, or anything. Just as incidental, which amounts to 2 times his salary for the year on just one tiny little bit of issue. Takes a huge delegation, including his wife and everybody. They sit there. All right? They know their cardinal functions. It's not limited, but indeed it includes 3 cardinal functions, and that is lawmaking, oversight, and representation. The abbreviation for us in political science, we usually say LOR. We don't put a D there because the D is for devilish act. Okay? So they sat there. They were able to put Fagon in jail. Yeah. And one of the things they've been accused of, if you actually follow Yeke says the pro tem is Southeast, the speaker, Southeast, the deputy speaker is Southeast. And that is why advocates like us know that the deputy speaker is highly educated. He plays a lean-back role. And those of us who have done our investigation in the House, we're being told that it doesn't matter who wins. He's going to be the next speaker because all people from both sides of the aisle, they love him. They think he will be a better speaker than the one that is there now. As for the pro tem, let's look at what you are talking about. The legislature not only being the first branch of government, but they represent the people. It's like we gave you our job and we call you, you disrespect us. Think about the Senate telling Western Cluster to shut down until they can figure out what's going on. They have a quasi-judicial system. And they're the first branch of government. Edwin Snow goes there and tells the people keep working. The judiciary tells us to go back to status quo. Meaning, wherever you are right now, they didn't put antique there. Antique would mean previously. Go back to status quo. You're already not working. We're already fussing. We got a ruling from the Senate. So go back to start. He said, hey, y'all continue. In fact, what did he say on the show? He said, I mean, it's lying. Today, he's telling people that, look, the Supreme Court will rule that the citizens had no right to take Western Cluster to court, forgetting to know that we're suing both him and the Western Cluster and the government. And it is a legitimate right of the citizens to sue their government. So again, it all boils down to what I want to say, Dr. Francine. If you don't know your function, I think maybe Remy know what I'm talking about. Know your function. I think Mary Harvard know what I'm talking about. When Liberia say know your function, it's a talk that is in Liberia. Know your function. I mean, you're supposed to know what to do. Know your function. If they don't show up, you hold them in contempt. and they go do that 2 days like I did. If you don't want to do that 2 days, you have a vote of no confidence in them. As the first branch of government, you have the right not to confirm any other appointee of the president until he dismisses the official that disrespected you. At the same time, you can fine the person up to $4,999, not exceeding $5,000. So if you don't know your function, that's what's going to happen. And that is why I believe sincerely that in 2023, maybe you may not have followed the first election in 2020. The Liberian poor fire everybody, I think, except for 3. And if people continue to carry out this attitude, they'll fire everybody again. Liberian poor didn't know they can fire people now. Don't let Liberian poor know about rebel war. It will be bad. Don't let Liberian poor know about disrespect. It will be bad. Don't let Liberian poor know about protests. They will hold 300 protests in a single year. They did it. So as soon as the Liberian people get to understand from a network like this that they can fire a lawmaker, just imagine recently, again, I'm closing on this, they knew that they could recall snow. They start looking for 10,000 signatures. Well, some of us will join that thing. We're just waiting for the court to rule, and then we will recall it. It's 10,000 signatures.
Okay.
So that's it.
So
know your function.
Now, Father Tadamatu said, fire in your core. Honorable Pagon said, know your function. So, Mr. Gray, let's hear from you. I hope I said that right, Tadamatu.
I think there's this fear that is gripping about half the Senate, especially they're up for grabs come 2023 October. So they're all nervous. There is something called budget performance report. We all know how 2022 went. There were so many robbing Paul to pay Peter, robbing John to pay this, and there were so many imposition of funds. And the legislature through the Senate now is saying, come and give budget performance report for 2022. Instead of you sending almost all the budget for all of these ministries, the government has a way of cleverly hiding money now through this satellite agencies like the Ministry of Finance, for instance. That's one of the individuals that was supposed to have appeared in front of the Senate to explain how 2022 went. Before we even discuss this emerging budget, let us talk about this the outgoing budget first. How was it spent? That's clearly what that is. And agencies that have influence on those, the greater influence on those budget were the ones that were supposed to appear. Mm-hmm. Already people have started campaigning, which violates our national elections law. When the Blue Day, for instance, that was a campaign. That's a violation. And monies were spent. People want to know exactly what's going on here. We too are up for grabs. Our job on the line. Come explain to us. I want to know all this money that you've proposed for 2023 going forward. Before we can even say yes on that, let us go and make sure that 2022 was well spent. Now, are they going to appear if they want to? The legislature has undermined its own enforcement mechanism. They are toothless bulldog. It's becoming gradually. And if you can just bark, you can't bite. Anything you say, now you have a police director who come and say they will defend the status quo with their blood. That is the only instrument of enforcement that you depend on. They have already taken sides. So who are you? You expect that when someone violates, you enforce some mechanism that will bring them to the law. But the law is not even on your side. So they are becoming toothless eventually anyway. And Chia is scared because Chia is up for grabs. He's going to be going to election. And so they want to know exactly what happened there, in terms of 2022. Let's know who was supposed to get paid and didn't get paid. And now you're proposing budget. And they're not seeing what happened is they're not seeing the their own interest in that budget, because when the budget goes into effect, some of them probably will not be in office. So people want to make sure they get their stuff up front now before leaving office. So that's the biggest fear, nothing else.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Gray. So, just to reiterate a little bit, making sure Liberian people get us, we are here talking about check and balance system in our government. If you say that the Commerce Ministry is going to get X amount of money and you put it in our budget, the legislature, as Mr. Falcon said, have oversight responsibility. They got to come and check to make sure that you present a report and say, oh, you give $1. This is how we spend the $1. Okay. This is how we spend Liberian people money. And what we see here, the people are just saying, oh, they can come whether they want to come, or they sometimes they don't have the report ready when they come. They got to send it back to get a report. And all of these things are not being responsible, accountable to the Liberian people. So Saramatu mentioned earlier, she said, well, we can, yeah, I'm coming, Mr. Falcon. I will let you. She said, well, the legislature can do something. Let's see the fire that they have in their court. Okay. Mr. Falcon said they do have fire. They have the right. They can call them into contempt. Okay. Or they can put them in jail. Like he said, he spent 2 days in jail. So that's something that they can do. And Remy Gray is saying they shouldn't just sit there and act like a toothless bulldog. They can do something. Toothless bulldog, a dog, you just barking all day. You can't do anything. So you are responsible as an executive branch to the Liberian people, and rightfully the legislature, the legislators are calling you to respond. But let's see what you are going to do as a group of people in the legislature. Yes, Mr. Falcon. Before we move on,
I just wanted to interject this. I had sent it will amaze you. I had sent a video to Good Day to make it look fun. And that's because the budget performance he's talking about, if you listen to the president's speech, he said revenue was down by 35 million. The truth of the matter is the projection they made, the budget it's a law, it's signed into law. Now they went to the performance hearing, guess what happened?
What happened?
They found out that there was a budget shortfall of about 40 million. Now I sent a video to the man, let him not take the video down. You see all the trouble? For the man to pay the ticket down. Because what happened, there was a back and forth with Samora Wolcoli, and the Senate forced him to admit, yes, we had a shortfall of about 40 million. He said, but it's spread across the post. What is spread across the Cairo? We don't want to do. If it's a shortfall, it's a shortfall. And then clearly the pro tem said it. And then Senator Snow came up and said, why are we hiding this from the Liberian people? We should be able to tell the people that there was a shortfall. And I think we should be men in the Senate to tell them. Who leaked the secret? Nyongli Kanga. Nyongli Kanga said when they went in the chambers for the performance report, they told them there that the budget was short. The president also said that in his speech. And during that hearing, so you will hear in the next 48 hours about the budget shortfall of about $40 million. Last but not the least, before Mr. Howard come in, guess what? They had earmarked about 70 million to pay domestic debts. This year budget, they have earmarked 35 million. The law asked the question, the 70 million you pay the people, they say they pay some. Then what happened to the balance? They said, well, we told you we had some problems along the way. Who did you people pay? I cannot state that here on the record. Dillon said, why? Because most of it came as a result of court ruling. Dillon said court ruling is public record. So what there to hide? Tell us who you pay the money to, how much you pay, and to whom you pay the money, so that we should know how much you pay and how much we still owe you. You can't come out to us and say you want 35 million to pay debt. Pay debt to who again? So we're in some of these things. I just wanted to say that, so before Mr. Howard come in, that there was a video. And now when Facebook take it down, you can't cut it again.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Mr. Howard, your thoughts about all of this?
Yeah, so for me, I don't want to be repetitive. I think you all have said it all. The function of the first branch of government, they have oversight. And if you only call yesterday, I Spring Johnson a question. He comes all the time complaining, and he's a senator. He's been senator for 18 years, and they have that power. When last they ever held somebody in contempt for an executive? He saw the excuses he gave. So for me, nothing surprised me when it comes to the Senate and the House, because people in that, in the two era, they have no reason of being there. But again, they play on our people, fool our people to vote for them. Because if the Senate start holding people in contempt, people will check and come to their senses. Trust me. You know, us like, bro, quick to fall in line. But when they go in front of that dip, I think day before yesterday or so, yesterday when I watched Minister Stammer literally almost insulting them. Senator, you can take that word back. When you go to the U.S. Congress and take Senator Jarry or maybe what is his name, Tim Scott? No. So they have not proven themselves. I think the only thing someone after now, all of them, they're $30,000 for themselves that they can justify to go and eat. Other than that, what law they make? So it is again upon us. And I would lead our campaign to make sure that somebody don't go back, we'll make sure they vote them out, because they are the problem. Once you have a strong legislature, that president will fall in line. They have the power to summon the president. But again, to my own friend and brother Fagon, I mean, Orlando guy, I really enjoy you. I mean, we are articulating, you know the issue. But it's good that you said that you advocating now. Very good. I kind of, you know.
That my business can't platform.
No, brother. Now your business come for a good.
You want to fight to how I tell her, brother?
No. Listen, Fagon, on a serious note, not for your business. You see, you and myself, we should help the country. You had the biggest puppet. They don't know their function. When last you realize that, you should at least educate about notwithstanding. I saw you most of the time, brother. It's that person attack now. Just say most of the time, you are Akara Gray, you'll be dancing, partying. Even up to 2020, you are running for Thomas Fowler, and you know Thomas Fowler was not even qualified to be a representative. You're pushing for senator. But you see, when God do it now, then you come by advocating, you know their function. So thank God, at least you have realized that some of these guys.
So how you think they put me in jail now? Help the public understand.
No, that was a different ball game. There was a different thing. So that was a different thing. No, Jack and I. So I would say this to say to end. For me, nothing surprised me. I know that some of them are good. Don't get me wrong, but some are just spineless. Very much spineless. I don't know because they $30,000.
So yes, thank you for adding your voice to this situation here.
No, I can't attack the man, but let me respond. The man can say
you will.
Bro, I'm pressing you. I'm not attacking. I said, thank God you changed now.
I have to make a clarity for you where you made a mistake.
Oh yeah,
it's called clarity.
Please do.
Now, if you say I knew Thomas Fowler was not qualified, who put Thomas Fowler there first?
No, forget about first. No, brother, forget about first.
I didn't talk.
Okay.
The Liberian people decided that Thomas Fowler was qualified to be a lawmaker.
Okay.
I was not in the country. I did not make him.
I agree.
Secondly, I was not a member of the Congress for Democratic Change. I became a member of the coalition, which is 3 political parties and other Liberians from different walks of life. We came with our government. We advocated for this government to take seat. And I was fortunate among the millions to be appointed. Now, let me say this to you. It is an honor to serve your country.
I know.
And if you realize that things are going bad and you begin to say it and they fire you, I don't think that's an excuse for you to say you were there.
No.
Wait now, brother. Wait now,
yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
your opinion matters on this platform just as mine. If you want to have a monologue, then we just listen to your radio station.
No.
But you tell your own, let me tell my own.
Go ahead.
You tell your own, let me tell my own.
Okay, so for your 1 minute, please.
I am saying to you, it's an honor to serve the country. Never run away from it. Unless you agree that everyone in the government is wicked and bad and incompetent now, you cannot fault me for going to serve my country. And nobody in the Republic can tell you that the 3.5 years I served, I did a bad job. Nobody can say that. I did what I was supposed to do. Propagate government's program, policies, and projects. Preach against negative propaganda. And yes, I did my job. As far as backing individuals for their evil deeds, many of which got me into trouble. I got suspended. I got jailed. I got dismissed. What else do you want me to do? My brother, I did my job. Let's move on with the program.
All right, so just 30 seconds. Minister Fagon, I'm not questioning your service to your country. No, not what I'm saying. All I'm saying to you, I agree you are not from the CDC, you are from the coalition. Perfect. But you know very well from your heart of hearts that Thomas Farah cannot even hear 6%. He was elected first time by the people, but the
How
second
can you choose for me? That's the problem.
Okay,
Where
Mr.
you
Fagon,
when you
hold
choose
on now. And
for.
you said,
It's my democratic right.
Mr. Fagon, we
give me
got,
chance.
yeah, you said when you
Nobody
Yeah.
got
talk
to
to
come to
the
the program. The show
Mr.
is not about you and
Fagon,
I.
But
Mr.
Mr.
Fagon, please.
Fagon, Mr. Fagon,
When
you
when you talk
said
to me, please
you
hold on, let me
said
talk.
you
Then we
said
got to wrap this
you
up.
you advocating now. And I said, perfect. You said they should know their function. All I'm saying to you, Mr. Farah was elected the first time, you had no part to play. The second time, I was in Liberia at the time that whole election right on the boulevard. I saw you with my own two eyes. Nothing wrong with that. You knew for the well from your house of heart that you are not even qualified to be a senator. But you're
That's
only
why
a
I
captain.
disagree with you. That's my
Okay,
disagreement
rest my
with
case.
you.
Let me
All right.
Because God
Dr.
made
Princeton,
you.
let me provide one
10
information
seconds.
quick.
God made
Yes.
you. And
Okay.
God made me. God put you where you are and put me where I am. You have the right to
Okay,
choose,
Mr.
and I have the
Fagon.
right to choose. I choose my candidate. Then you took your hat from in your chest and put it in my own and say, I know Thomas Farah will not qualify. Are you inside me to know?
But you complaining today about the candidates now. You are complaining.
Okay,
That they don't know
guys.
the
I'm not.
function.
Okay, we'll
I'm
not
not.
come to a
Why?
resolution.
Thomas
I
Farah
think,
is a university graduate.
I think, I
No,
like.
let's go ahead. Let's go
Yes,
ahead.
thank you. I
He
like
was
the
lawmaker
exchange.
before I met him.
I like the exchange. So, Mr. Gray just asked me to make add some clarity to
Yeah.
this information before we move on to our
Choose your
last.
side. Let
topic
me
of
choose
the
my
day.
side. You just beating us today for choosing our
Mr.
side.
Fagon, you got creep
No,
on
I
you.
want to remind how you just beating us for choosing our side.
And I'm beating your brother.
Mr.
I sent the checkpoint. I tried to write the checkpoint. All I doing, brother. And I'm beating your.
You read your own checkpoint. Let me choose my side. You
Order
choose
to
your
the
side.
show. Order to the show, please.
Anyway, I want nobody was checkpointing in the country.
We got almost like a little bit more than 30 minutes. Mr. Remy, please.
Yes, I think one of the issues in this whole debate about the budget, maybe we'll find time one day and discuss the budget, because I think Mr. Howard is an accountant, so he can probably lead us in that direction.
Yeah.
But 91 point something million dollars was designated for servicing of domestic and international debt. 40 plus million will go to the international circle. Do you know that 51 plus million dollars would be paid to domestic banks like the National Bank and other commercial banks around, because this government, this administration has been taking money from those people. Now they came up with similar figure last fiscal year, and they have yet to account how the servicing of that debt went. Then they've raised up that amount now to 91 million. They have yet to tell us whether they service our domestic and international debt last fiscal year.
Mhm.
This is the big dodging, docking the Minister of Finance is doing. That's why it's avoiding the Senate. They want to know. Last year, you say you were going to pay debt. Did you pay?
Mhm.
Now you can't give 191 million again. They can't give you. What happened to this money that you say you were going to pay the debt last year? Did you pay? We don't even know.
Yeah.
So there are so many reasons for the legislator to before even touching this budget, they should not even touch it until they can account for fiscal budget 2022. Because this government, I think all they're doing is find a way to just prop the budget up, and then they have a way of collecting those money to themselves. This is election year, of course, you know.
They call it dig hole to call hole. That's what I heard. Yeah. So speaking along that line, Mr. Gray, I believe I just read in Front Page Africa, and I took a clip from that said that the GAC, which is the General Auditing Commission, for 2 fiscal years from July 1st, 2018 to June 30th, 2020, revealed that millions of dollars of fuel levies paid by motorists for the maintenance and rehabilitation of roads in Liberia were either not being remitted to the road fund account. So this is something that by law they were supposed to do. They didn't do that. And this is what our Minister of Finance has to come to the legislature to answer. They didn't do that. So they said that the road fund, as required by the Road Fund Act, which is the law, or expended by unintended purposes. The GAC report showed that the Liberia Government Revenue Authority deposited $53 million in their consolidated fund account instead of the National Road Fund account. So they are depositing money different places, not recognizing the act, and everything. The ministry, the executive branch, which makes up the ministries, are kind of doing different things, and now the legislature are saying we need answers. You need to tell us, what are you guys doing? We need to be able to, we represent the Liberian people. We need to be able to speak on this. So we are here to inform you, Liberian people, this is what occurred. This is what is happening. Some of the ministers are coming to answer questions about how they are spending your money. And some of them are definitely haven't shown up or have not, gathered the reports together. Um, we have concluded here that the legislature can do something about it. You know, they can, hold them in contempt. They can lock them up, and they can show that they got fire in their wood, as
Declare a vote of no confidence in them.
Yeah, okay. They can declare a vote of no confidence, and then they don't even have to invite them to confirmation. Okay, so they have all this power to represent our people. Now it's up to you guys to decide. We've given you the information. All right. So thank you, all of you, for this wonderful exchange of information here. Our last topic, which I think is very relevant to us in the United States, the diaspora, and in other parts of the world. They're closing down. We talked about this briefly, but it's becoming even more profound because I think there was a recent press conference held about the closing down of consulate offices in the U.S. I think Kamaya basically spoke about this recently. There was an uproar in Minnesota when it was discovered that the consulate office would be closed. I believe there was also a meeting held maybe in the past couple of weeks about the consulate office in Atlanta, Georgia. So I wanted to know your thoughts on the consulate office, given the fact that we Liberians need to travel. We need the consulate office open for different reasons. It's a good source of finances for our government. And also, they also gave us citizenship. We in the diaspora. Where are we supposed to go to get our documentations from, to either travel to Liberia to vote, or either one day they will decide that we can actually exercise our democratic right at the consulate office. So I want to know your thoughts on this. Saramati, we'll start with you, then we'll go to Mr. Falcon, we'll go to Mr. Gray, and then we'll go to Mr. Howard. That should take us up to the hour where we're going to end the show. Well, hopefully to 5:45. Just give us 2 minutes of your thoughts, because I want to give the Liberian an opportunity to call in.
Okay. I think, when this story came out a couple months ago, I have to give a disclaimer. I'm friends with Jackson George, and who was the honorary counsel in Minnesota, as well as with Cynthia, who is on honorary counsel in Atlanta. I work with them. I've never had any problem working with both of them. So when this story broke out, I think a couple months ago, one of the issues that we had was, one, why were they closing it down? Did the people they weren't doing their jobs? Why was it being closed down? And the second question we had was focused around the company that the work was going to be transferred to. The company that's gotten in trouble with in other countries like the UK, they weren't really fit to do that type of work. And then all of a sudden a letter was written and saying, we'll put it on hold. And then we didn't hear anything about it. The noise has ceased down. From my end, my opinion, it seemed like it was politically, motivated. Again, but I'm an opposition. So anytime, we say it was politically motivated, they can say, we just don't let the government. But when the government comes out and it closes services like this, because I know for a fact that Jackson George actually did a great job in Minnesota. it was easy to get your visa. It was easy to get services through him. I've never really gotten services through Cynthia. I've worked with Cynthia on other things, and I know she has been very helpful in taking people to Liberia, investors, for meetings, for interests, and so on and so forth. So as usual, our government, they do things and they don't explain anything, and then they come out looking like the boogeyman, because they have a habit of not communicating well with the public. So you ask Dr. Richardson, well, we'll go get our different services. We'll go to the Liberian embassy. That we'll go. This is where the diaspora, when I came back to the U.S., I realized, I'm like, you know what, the diaspora, they really don't even realize the power that they have. They concentrate too much on fighting the people in the homeland, and fighting in the way where it comes across as being arrogant. Um, when you have a certain power on this end, and the people on the homeland have a certain power. Two honorary council is being shut down. The diaspora, we've forgotten about it. It will now move on to something else until October, or I think when there's registration in March, when we really need the services, when they not put us in a choke, then we'll start making noise about it again. So the diaspora needs to start asking these questions. Why are you taking this away? I mean, if the government can have a legitimate reason for taking the service, from taking this business away from the two honorary council, because it's a business. Let everybody understand that it's a business. They're supposed to make money too. Okay. So we want to know why they're taking the business away. One, and two, whoever they're giving this contract to, we as Liberians need to know this company. We need to be able to trust this company, because these people will be dealing with your personal information. But again, we don't think about those things. We'll end up fighting each other. Next thing you know, they will just see the name somewhere. They not appoint new people as either honorary council, or they not take our entire personal data and give it to another company. And the company was not even a Liberian company, it was a Ghanaian company. So maybe we got it wrong, but this is where we'd like to hear from the government. Provide some information. Why did you take it? And if you did take it away from them, who exactly are you giving it to? I'll stop there.
Thank you. Good points, Salamatu. Thank you. Mr. Fagon, your thoughts on this whole consulate issue?
For me, it is clear as to what they want to do. And again, the opinion of every panelist here matters a lot. Everything was working fine. In America, the people say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Ain't nothing was wrong with it. It's another way for Kimia to get a Ghanaian company that will collect the money and then funnel the money into a channel that will be used to get the CDC re-elected.
Wow.
Who can have a different debate to that? Let me understand. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You came with the abrupt stop. Stop work, get out, thank you for your stuff. The Liberian people raised concern. You extended it by what? 3 months. You are right on the show. Am I wrong? It tells you realize that you were wrong to just have a knee-jerk reaction to the situation and just halt everything in one day. Stop. Thank you for your service to the country. Bye. See everybody. You left your own citizens stranded. The first strategy was to discourage Liberians who wanted to go home and register. I know my government. Why would you want everybody from around America to go to Washington? Because if you stop this thing abruptly, you know it will take time for that Ghanaian business to be registered in the state of Minnesota and in the state of Atlanta. Every state got their own laws. Secondly, for any honorary consul to be accepted in the U.S. and given a diplomatic plate will require an extensive security check for a security clearance and for foreign relations to be able to accept this person. So you force Liberians to struggle. Third, why are you doing it? You're doing it because you want monies to be paid to the Ghanaian companies. As in the case of the passport from Buck Press, then the money goes to their bank account and they can decide where to pay this money. They're going to come up and say, it's a lie. It's a lie. You know, the money will go to the embassy account. Hey, I worked in this government before. But what I don't understand is, why is Kimia pushing something? Because Kimia, you know what happened with the money that the Moroccan government gave? The $1 million. It disappeared. And you know the purpose for which they gave it. I worked partially with that committee. I received the Moroccan guests. And at the end of the day, where are you with this money? It became a story. The ambassador has died. The students are there stranded.
Yeah,
and
I remember.
today you're doing the same thing with this stuff. What's going to happen, Dr. Francine, is this. That Ghanaian company will take forever. And I trust the Americans. I put my money on the Americans. I bet I can trust them more than any other country in the world. This extension for 3 months was not given because Spoon Talk raised an issue with it. You were on the program. The extension wasn't given because of that. The extension was given because Spoon Talk provided education as to how long it will take to have a new honorary consul here with diplomatic plates, the registration, and the establishment. And Kimia only got 7 months in government. He needs to pack a bag and leave. He's not going anywhere.
Okay, Mr. Fagon, we just heard from James Goodday, that's why he's here, that the CEO is coming on to make an announcement. So we're going to have a brief kind of interruption into following up with our program. So James, would you like to bring the CEO on if he's ready?
Yes, he's coming on now.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Welcome, CEO.
Yeah. Ooh, Fagon.
I was about to say, your beta, you don't know how to operate the machine again. You forget?
Come on, man. Salah Matu, how you doing?
Adu, how you doing?
I'm here. God manage us all. Dr. Richardson, thank you for wonderful work. We appreciate you. Melvin Howard, greetings to you and the family. I hope the young man and the young woman is doing well in school. And your beautiful wife, we say greetings to them all.
Thank you.
The general himself, the minister himself, Colonel Ed E. Remy Gray, want to say thanks for your participation. A great program. To all of our followers, we say thank you for being faithful, joining us, joining the Spoon family, the network, as we move on. As you know, 8 months to election, a little under 8 months to election. We want to say thank you for being faithful through it all. We happen to be here. God manning us all. God is in control. I'm okay. My family is doing well. And above all, you know the situation. You have heard enough, or more than enough. Legally, we cannot speak on the legal issue that is concerning what is out there, the case. We will speak on it accordingly, due time. Thanks for your prayers. A lot of people have reached out to me. A lot of people continue to send me scripture. We went back to the Bible because it says, see, oh, read the scripture, read the scripture. God is in control. We are well. We want to announce, which is very important, we have to tell the nation, as you get ready to move towards election, Spoon Talk is here to stay. We will do everything by God's grace to give you the message. We will be objective. We will be very measured. We take no side, as you all know. For government or not for government, imposition or out of position, whatever you may call it, we take no side. We want to be very objective on the program. I follow the show. Dr. Richardson and the team been doing extremely well. I have come to announce to you at around 2:50 p.m. Eastern United States time. My brother Kev Hassan called me and he said, CEO, the government of Liberia, its highest top, have advised me to leave the spoon talk. And I said, Kev Hassan, we've been in this boat since 2020 during the COVID. You came on the show not because of government. You came on the show not because of me or anyone, but you desire to help through the foundation, the Spoon Foundation. He said, yes, CEO, from the highest within the government. I'm shaking. I'm crying. I don't know what to say. But they said that if I'm on Spoon Talk, I do not represent the government and I should exit Spoon Talk. If you're not seeing Kev Hassan on the show, we wish him well. We love our brother Kev Hassan. The only person that check on me every evening and every morning. The only person that cried on me when they call. But it is why it is. As we get into the intense politics, things going to take another turn. Position going to shift. So when Kev told me, I said, I wish you well, Kev. Wherever you may go to propagate for the government, to preach the government message, I wish you well. May God be with you. You're still a brother and friend. And I wish you well. He said, CEO, I hate to say this. I hate to do this. But I'm on the right mandate that I should exit the Spoon Talk. So if you do not see Kev Hassan on the Spoon Talk, it is because he's on a direct mandate to exit. And therefore, if whenever he will, you're always welcome back. But I don't want you to ask. So where is Kev Hassan? He's well. He will always be the brother. He will always be the friend. But he's on a direct mandate, as he always said, to listen to the voices of the government, and the voices of the government from its highest ask him to leave the Spoon Talk. I couldn't ask anyone to give this announcement. I came to give you the announcement. When you talk about the other folks, our brother Ben Sambi, St. Timothy and George, Dr. Heron, Pastor Heron Peabody, they are still members of the Spoon Talk. We're just making some adjustment in the schedule. We started Spoon Talk with Reverend Mountain, Dr. Peabody, myself, and Kev Hassan added. We will continue Spoon Talk. Even in my absence, Spoon Talk will continue. I appreciate the effort of the team, honor the management of Mr. T. Cannon. I appreciate the effort of good friends and those that sacrifice the 2, 3, 4 hours every evening to make Spoon Talk what it is. I want to say thanks to Eugene Fagon. I want to say thanks to you, Stella Matthew, that you have given your time 3, 4 days a week to make the Liberian people listen. I want to say thanks to Melvin Howard, that even up to yesterday, you have sent me the schedule, and Remy Gray for your participation. I also like to remember my brother Leo Napoleon, who also willing to contribute to the show. I would say to all Liberian in position, all of position, for or against government, that we ask you, if you have the time, you have the season, join the network. Let's speak to our Liberian people. It is important that we do this. Through it all, we learn to trust in Jesus and we learn to trust in what we believe in. We will not be shifted. We'll be unmovable. Folks asking, will the government shut down Spoon Talk? I don't know. Will the government shut down the network? So be it. But the law will remain the law, and the message will be preached. The network comprises of Spoon, FM, Spawn TV, Super FM, Super TV, Fabric FM, Fabric TV. We have gone above and beyond to meet every political leaders. We have gone above and beyond to meet everyone, and everyone have listened to us. The poor, the rich, the nobody, the somebody. Those are for government, those are against government. We have preached the message, and Liberians are listening, home and abroad. Liberians are listening, and Liberians believe in the network and the message. So I want to say to all of you, keep the faith. Don't give up. If you have not prayed, pray harder. If you have not believed, believe. Because we believe the system, we believe the government, we believe what they produce, in the sense that there will be no suppression of press freedom. If anyone think that they can proclaim and propagate and give the message, come on the network. Come on the network and make your case. The days that we should believe that we should support one system, that we should support one individual, that we should say, hail the king, that day should be over. We should speak truth without fear. We should speak nothing but the fact, because Liberia deserves better. So we say thank you, my dear fellow Liberians. Please don't ask about Ben Servi. I spoke to Ben Servi yesterday. And when he worked around his schedule, he will be on the show. Please don't ask about Dr. Peabody or Tuman and George. When it is all settled, all is well, they will do what they always do. They will be part of the network. They are. They have not gone anywhere. But as we make these changes, you will see different faces. We got to bring in other folks that are willing to speak to Liberia. So again, the announcement, I'm okay. Please don't worry about me. I'm fine. I went to work this morning. While I work, I will repeat myself. I received a phone call from Kev Hassan. And Kev Hassan told me a mandate from the CDC government that he should leave the Spawn Talk. Being on the Spawn Talk, he would not be representing the government. It is what it is. Life goes on. So till we meet again, or till I talk to you again, I want to appreciate Dr. Richardson and you especially. I want to appreciate your family. I want to appreciate AB for working along with you, that you can carry on the load. You say he carried my load. That you can now be the face of Spawn. I want to appreciate Salamatu that you just got back from Liberia, but you're making the show. If I'm going to thank you for the spin you bring on the show, I said thank you. Melvin, Leo, E. Remy Gray, let's do that which is right for the sake of the Liberian people. And as you announced that I spoke to Kietemba, and as he began to contemplate to formulate a schedule, you'll probably be coming on the show too. The Spawn Talk is for everyone. If you hear anything out there concerning any of our panelists, ask the question or believe it, so be it. I'm not the owner of Spawn Network. I do not own Spawn Talk. We just do that which is right to bring the message. We bring the message of CDC government, of UP, of CPP, Tewan Gonglo, Simon Freeman, Madela Cooper, everyone. And we allow the Liberian people to decide. So thank you very much for your prayer. Thanks for your time. May God bless us. May God keep us. And may God bless the Republic of Liberia. Have a good night. Thank you, Dr. Richardson.
Thank you.
Show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we had the CEO break into our show. I want to just spend some time briefly because I'm watching my time here. I only have at least 10 more minutes left to go, but I want to tell Kev Hassan, thank you for your contribution that you made to the show. And I wish you well, although we had really robust exchanges because, of course, you are on the government side and I'm not on the government side. But I want to wish you well. And if you ever decide to come back, the show is here. Having said that, I think we're going to go straight into our closing comments today, and you can include anything and whatever you want to say, especially related to the topics that we discussed, because it's 5:50. I'm just straight on getting us out of here by 6 o'clock. So Sadamatu, well, actually, I'm going to go back. I'm going to continue. Remy Gray, I'm going to go to you, and then we're going to go to Melvin Howard, and then we'll go to Sadamatu, and then we'll go to Fakon. Any thoughts, comments about the consulate, what CEO
Well,
said?
well, I know the consulate. It's not only.
Are we closing now?
Yes, but I'm just because I didn't give them the opportunity to talk. So coming back to you, Fakon. Yes.
The consulate in Minnesota and the consulate in Georgia are among many consulates that are shutting down. According to the minister, he, along with the president, are the only two individuals by law that have the ability to recall those missions. And according to him, everyone serving as consulate have been recalled. So therefore, but one of the endearing things he said that really got to me was that this is election time. We need money, and those consulate was supposed to be generating money for us. And even when to say if anybody generate money for the consulate, should be sent to the general fund, which is the Republic of Liberia Central Accounting System. The thing about making those kinds of pronouncements, in my opinion, they go against the very spirit of international cooperation. I'm not going to lecture you about the role of consulate in our system, in our diplomatic cycle. But yeah, money can be the undertone, but definitely that's not the overarching reason for maintaining those consulate. This man is saying, and I'm pretty sure they're going to start selling those consulate, mission pretty heftily to. They could care less who, they're to the highest bidder. That's why it's saying, and I always say, us Liberians, we are going too far in just compromising our national heritage. There is no way a Liberian will run a Ghanaian consulate. I have nothing against the people of Ghana. They were there for us during the war. We were there. They continue to be. Matter of fact, for instance, if you go to Robertsport, if you go, down to Vytown, those people have taken the entire, table, those stall, those fish tables there.
Yes.
They're there. They're not even paying taxes. When I went to Liberia to help develop my county, that's my native county as well.
Mm-hmm.
They pour everywhere. They pour walk into Liberia with hands swinging. You can't do that in Ghana.
That's true.
What is going on with us that we will lose everything that we own as a nation, as a as a people,
even in the diaspora?
Yeah. So now they're coming after us again in the diaspora. Jackson George was a satellite. He was doing so well. When I wanted to renew my passport, I went there. We paid the money. Matter of fact, they gave you where to pay the money and bring the.
Can you wrap it up for me, Mr. Gray? I'm getting close to 6 o'clock.
All right. So definitely, I think you cannot politicize everything, so to speak. And this is becoming too difficult for some of us to handle. The fact that we're losing our country to almost every facet. Trust me, the deal about this consulate in Minnesota is already done. And this guy put money in his pocket. He's walked away. They just need to see a Ghanaian guy handling our situation.
Wow. Okay, Mr. Howard, are you there? Yes.
Yeah, for me, I would just be brief
because I think,
because of time. With regards to the consulate, it's very sad. But here's the thing. The master takes responsibility for any good decision or bad decision of his 7. So what am I trying to say? Kimeya. I'll call it in 3 times. Kimeya. This guy should have been fired a long time by Mr. Weah. He doesn't know what he's doing as foreign minister. You see, these are some of the weaknesses of the president. You got people in position that they don't understand the function of the position. Back in the days when we were young, I can still recall the late Caesar Dennis. If somebody can recall Caesar Dennis, he had to stay in the country. He was traveling left and right to every country to build that connection, international contact for Liberia. But our part of foreign minister, he can't even go from Liberia to Guinea. A big thing he's going to do is to shut down Consulate. It's sad. Very embarrassing to the government. Very embarrassing. You see, if Mr. We have been taking some decision, taking people who not qualify, then we'll see. I mean, he need business. So, like Salamatu said, diaspora needs to ask the government, who the diaspora? We live in the diaspora. Where's the Yola? Back in the days when when they headed Yola, you gonna play with Yola. It's no Liberian government. But nowadays, I got a lot of friends that are in Yola, even the president of Yola, my personal friends. They don't speak on issues when it comes to Liberians, only for themselves. That's the reason why Maggie came here and made her here to be busy to put in the budget and get us some money. And some of us called and say, that's illegal. You can't do it. So, Salamatu, we rather talk for ourselves because the Liberian organization should be talking for us. Yola, they know everyone. They're not going to talk. Whether it's in government pocket, I can't speak to that. But it is wrong and sad to close or cancel it down. That's what I have to say.
Thank you.
And
Thank
to
you,
close
Mr.
up,
Howard. Yes.
my closing night, to close up, I just want to say it was a very good exchange. Fagon, in a democratic society, intellectual forum, that's how we do it. You know, I'm not personally attacking you. It will be my own brother, Remy Gray, will be Dr. Francis. Yesterday, I saw.
But you don't even have that arsenal, especially with my sweetheart Salimatu here.
Yeah,
so Fagon, because the thing I would say here, right? And this is what I want to say. If you are given a chance to serve government, it's not a bad idea. Serve well, because you know what? Government jobs short live. Don't serve and overserve, and at the end of the day, it will haunt you. I give an example of my own friend Louis Brown. Louis is my best friend from the University of Liberia. He's my bastard brother. When they announced the retired suffering rally, that was a good message. But the messenger that was giving the message, that was just kill the whole thing. So when you in government, when you play your part, people are watching you. So I will not hate or fault you, my brother Fagon, but what did you do in government? And you want to talk about it today? It's kind of mind-boggling. So, brother, I would say that we got a long way to go. To the Liberian people, we should not give up hope. We are here, some of us, we don't take side. We will say how we see it. And like the CEO just announced, I think to balance the show, they should have one sedition here where they have the ANC people to be going at it, then the neutral guy come in, but Kev is not here. So like one side deal, like the ANC people having free ride. But I hope the CEO will find one sedition to come and defend them. Okay. So again, good show. And
how you consider Mr. Falcon? He already announced to you the main sedition. He said,
well, he's sedition according to him, but not according to the CDC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that I guess I'm a sedition, but maybe the point in the party is a different ballgame. But I'm not for him for that.
Very well. Okay, but anyway,
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Salamat to you, and then Mr. Falcon will take us home. You go to your closing comments.
Okay, the only thing I would say, since I've come into learning about governance and good governance, Liberia is where I had to experience what is, unfortunately, what bad governance is versus good governance. We did the IFC I worked with the IFC to do some case studies on companies and the role that women play in governance and bad governance. So, when you hear me talking about it a lot, I get passionate about it. And to see a country where we were literally building our system, rebuilding our system, I should say. I'm young. I wasn't there for the Cecil Dennis dinner time, but I've heard, not just from Liberians, but from foreigners, that Liberia did have a system. It may not have been a great system, but nevertheless, it was a good starting point. So to come in within the last like 12 years and see how we were rebuilding, and then all of a sudden to see it being torn down, it's very disturbing. So when we're talking about good governance, we're talking about accountability, we're talking about transparency, we're talking about being efficient, we're talking about being responsive. A lot of these words that we're using, we're not seeing it in the current administration. And again, it's not personal. It's Liberia. We all love Liberia. We all want to see Liberia move forward. So with that said, you mentioned something about the foreign minister. Even the foreign minister, isn't he wanted for allegedly sexual harassment in America? We not dropped that other case down. We ain't talking about it. This is our foreign minister he was at the UNR. He had a different position in the U.S. He was based in the U.S., representing Liberia, and he was accused of sexual harassment. He went to Liberia, moved out of U.S. and went to Liberia, and never addressed that case. And if anybody know America, to take sexual harassment very, very, very seriously, they're not going to let it go. So, to now see him, his biggest accomplishment is to be shutting down the various consulate because they're not giving the government money and it's the year of election. It just again breeds bad governance. But I will leave with this, and I think as long as I'm on this show, I will keep repeating this. When leaders are focused on money, title, and power, if that's what they're focused on, their decision-making process will always be servant and will be very unethical. So anytime you see a leader who their priority is about the title, is about money, and it's about power, you just know that whatever decision they make has nothing to do with society, but everything to do with being selfish, and it will end up being very unethical. So I will stop there.
Thank you, Salamatu, for those good thoughts. Mr. Falcon, please take us home.
Well, thank you. It was a great show. To my friends, Salamatu, Colonel Ed Gray, Brother Melvin Howard, it was a wonderful show. I'm a little bit quiet because I always say that we have to be careful what we say. When you say the government recall you, you are not within the employ of the government. You did not start with the network as a government employee. And for the highest person, that is the president, to tell a person to stop speaking what he thinks and stuff like that is disturbing for me. My good friend was an energizer for me. By that I mean he used to come with something I had to respond to, and I had to either deal with robustly or somehow. To just see him receive a phone call and then call the network and say the government says I should leave the show. He's not saying I'm leaving the show or I'm leaving the show because the guys there don't like me. He's actually left because the president wanted him to leave. So it brings me to the thought that Brother Melvin said he wants to see a sedition. There was a sedition. The sedition was an ambassador of the government. And the sedition has said that the government recalled him. So we are here. We should be waiting for the next, when you recall the ambassador, he can send you ambassador. We have to wait for the new government's representatives, the new sedition, I should say. But having said that, it is what it is. I can't say any more than that. But in my closing, I received a communication that somehow in the dark. How I got it, no one should ask me. But it speaks to the Supreme Court Justice in Chimba saying that the lower court has declined the writ as prayed for by the petitioners who happens to be the citizens of Burma, that somehow he believes that this case can be heard in the lower court because it has to do with mixed laws, as he put it. I'm quoting him. I'm not at the page right now, but just to make it quickly and close on it, I just want to say to Liberians that I don't think the court was in error to say so. I respect the decision of the court, the Supreme Court, but when the court says it has declined to issue this rate to the people of Bumi because the issue raised in the petition is, I'm quoting, mixed issues of laws and facts that can be handled in the lower court, then I don't know. If this situation can be handled in the lower court, that means they're sending us, along with the government of Liberia, to the lower court to be able to handle this situation. What that tells me,
let's
my
wrap
experience,
it up. Mr. Falcon.
Man, every toy to come here hang out with us.
It is 6:05.
Okay,
6:05 with
I will soon finish. Let's hear that Bumi people be talking like that. They will soon say enough for us out.
I'm from Cape Man. Ask Remy.
But I'm telling you that Cape Man, Bumi, and Papolo, then you let it out to our team. So now
Go
when
ahead.
we go to the lower court, all of you on this panel know what's going to happen. Case suspended. Case will be heard in February. Case will be this. That is, will be dragging on. I just want to say, I hope the U.S. ambassador and our partners around the country are looking at this. Because 99% of the time, when the people resources are being stolen and the government in power is a party litigant to the issue as seen in this court document, the people will take the right course of action to defend themselves against the pillaging. I also now want to close on this note by saying tonight that I am proud of my service in government. And the only way I will listen to anyone tell me I have done wrong is to point out the wrong that I did. If you do, I'm human. I will apologize. But as far as I'm concerned, my past does not define my current state, does not define my future. If everyone was to go into a straight line motion in life, there's no need for you to even live. It is the mistakes that we make and the experiences that we gather propel us. And unless you have a debate as to something I did wrong, absolutely, you got no case. We're on this platform, we'll remain on this platform, and I, Eugene Fagon, await the next government representative to come so that we can start on the budget mismanagement and misapplication, and then move forward to the death of the auditors and the fraudulent actions taking place within the electoral process. I respectfully submit.
Thank you very much. On that note, I want to thank all of my panelists, Adematu, Mr. Fagon, Mr. Howard, Mr. Gray. Thank you so much for committing your time, volunteering your time to speak to Liberian people. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
James, okay.
Okay. So, folks, that's it. Join the team on tomorrow when they will be here again with another very, very informative and analytical discussion here. My name is Yekezi Zobel. Keep it dire set. Bye-bye.